Ayan. So, ito na yung karugtong ng ating basics of working capital management, no? Sa chapter 17. Kung naalala mo, yung last na pinag-usapan natin doon ay ito, choosing between the approaches. Sana naalala mo pa yan. Itutuloy lang natin yan dito sa cash and marketable securities management. So, simulan na natin dito sa cash conversion cycle. Basahin natin. All firms follow a working capital cycle in which they purchase or produce inventory, hold it for a time, and then sell it and receive cash. Yan, this is known as the cash conversion cycle. Okay. So basahin mo lang. The length of time funds are tied up in working capital, or the length of time between paying for working capital and collecting cash from the sale of the working capital. Okay. Para mas malinawan ka, puntahan natin tong concept clip.
Cash conversion cycle. This is a really basic way of describing for just about any business how money gets turned into stuff and back again. The company starts off buying raw materials from their suppliers and turning those into whatever they're going to sell, their inventory. Then they have to actually sell the stuff, collect all the money from those sales, and pay their suppliers. And then the process starts all over again. So they started off with cash, turned it into stuff, into inventory, and finally back into cash again. So they're converting cash, and this process happens over and over again, so it's a cycle. Get it? It's a cash conversion cycle. Now, this all seems pretty basic and obvious, so why do we even care about it? Well, it turns out that the length of this cycle has a big impact on a firm's profitability and ultimately their stock price. And it all has to do with loans and interest charges. Remember, the cycle starts with buying raw materials from suppliers. Well, the money the business uses to pay their suppliers is usually borrowed from a bank. It's a loan. And that means the company has to pay interest on that loan until they can pay it back. Of course, they can't pay it back until they sell their inventory and get paid themselves. So for that whole time in the middle, between taking out the loan and when they get paid for all their sales, they're paying interest. And that interest adds up, day after day, eating into their profits more and more. That's why they want to shorten their cash conversion cycle. The less time it takes to turn their stuff back into cash, the sooner they can repay their loan. And that means they get to pay less in interest fees and make a bigger profit. And that, of course, makes shareholders happy. So remember, shorter is better when it comes to the cash conversion cycle.
Okay. So, mas ma-appreciate mo pa yan pagdating natin dito sa next page. Kasi, kukompute na natin yung CCC o yung cash conversion cycle. Tandaan mo ha, the shorter, the better daw. Okay? So, dito, may example lang tayo, no? May sample company tayo. Si Great Fashions Incorporated. Yan. The company's business plan calls for it to purchase $100,000 of merchandise at the start of each month and have the merchandise sold within 60 days. Take note mo yan. 60 days, yung unang time period na nakita mo. The company will have 40 days to pay its suppliers. Take note mo rin to. 40 days, yung pangalawang time period. And it will give its customers 60 days to pay for their purchases. Take note mo ulit. 60 days, yung pangatlong time period. Okay, tuloy mo yung pagbasa. GFI expects to just break even during its first few years. So its monthly sales will be 100,000, the same as its purchases. Any funds required to support operations will be obtained from the bank, and those loans must be repaid as soon as cash is available. This information can be used to calculate GFI's cash conversion cycle, which nets out the 3 time periods described below. So, yung 3 time periods dito, inisa-isa dyan sa baba. Okay. So, ano yung una? Inventory conversion period. So, for GFI, this is the 60 days it takes to sell the merchandise. Ayan. So, yung nakita mo dito, no? And have the merchandise sold within 60 days. Okay? So, from the purchase date, ayan, 60 days yung iintayin bago mabenta yung inventory. So, ang tawag doon, inventory conversion period. Okay? Sige. Next natin, average collection period. Familiar sa'yo to, no? Kasi kinompute natin to dun sa ating FS analysis, di ba? Okay? So, this is the length of time customers are given to pay for goods following a sale. The ACP is also called Days Sales Outstanding. Sana naalala mo pa yung formula dyan. Okay. GFI's business plan calls for an ACP of 60 days, which is consistent with its 60-day credit terms. Okay, so saan mo nakita yan? Dito. Ayan o. It will give its customers 60 days to pay for their purchases. Okay. So, yun yung plano na maging ACP ng company na to, ni GFI. So, 60 days. Okay. Then yung pangatlo, payables deferral period. This is the length of time GFI suppliers give GFI to pay for its purchases. So saan mo nakita yan? Ito, the company will have 40 days to pay its suppliers. So ang tawag dyan, payables deferral period. Okay. Sige. So dito sa baba, makikita mo yung chart nung ating periods na binanggit sa taas. Okay. So, inventory conversion period, 60 days. Plus yung average collection period na 60 days din. So, 120 days. Familiar ba sa'yo to? Dapat familiar sa'yo yan, no? Kasi, ano ba yan? Punta natin tong FS analysis formulas na in-upload natin nun sa ating canvas, no? Nasa na yun? Ayan. Ito. Operating cycle is equal to ACP plus AAI. Okay. Ano ba yung ACP? Average collection period or DSO. Ano ba yung AAI? Average age of inventory. Okay. So dito sa chapter 17, ang tawag niya dito sa AAI ay inventory conversion period. Okay. ICP. So same lang yan, no? And yung formula sa taas, ito, saan na yun? ACP, ayan pala. Tapos, AEI, ito, magagamit mo siya. Okay, mamaya. Kapag ginamit na natin yung data galing sa FS sa pag-compute ng CCC. Okay, so, i-take note mo lang to, no? At i-ready mo na rin yung index cards mo. Okay, so, pag pinag-add pala yung ACP and AAI o yung DSO and ICP, other terms dun sa dalawang yun, ang makukuha mo is operating cycle. Okay. Suburayin lang natin annotations para malinaw sa'yo. Okay. ACP plus AAI is equal to operating cycle. Okay. So, ayan. Tapos, yung payables deferral period, saan mo nakita? Ayun, sa baba. Okay. So, tingnan muna natin tong paragraph dito sa baba ng payables deferral period. No? On day 1, GFI buys merchandise and expects to sell the goods and thus convert them to accounts receivable in 60 days. Yan nga yun. Then, it should take another 60 days to collect the receivables, making a total of 120 days between receiving merchandise and collecting cash. Yan yun. Kasi hindi nasusulatan yung ebook natin eh. Sayang naman. Ayan, no? Yung 60 days na una, ito. Then yung 60 days na pangalawa, ito. In total, 120 days yan. However, GFI is able to defer its own payments for only 40 days. Yan. So, we combine these three periods to find the planned cash conversion cycle. Ayan. So, nakikita mo dito sa formula sa baba, no? Inventory conversion period, 60 plus average collection period 60 minus payables deferral period is equal to cash conversion cycle. Okay. So, ilagay mo na yan sa index cards mo. ICP plus ACP minus payables deferral period is equal to CCC. Okay. Then, puntahan natin ulit itong diagram dito, no? Alam mo na pag in-add yung ICP and ACP, makukuha mo yung operating cycle. Doon pala sa operating cycle, pag minus mo yung payables deferral period, makukuha mo yung cash conversion cycle. Okay, so yan lang yung pinapakita dito. Okay. So, ayan. Although GFI must pay 100,000 to its suppliers after 40 days, it will not receive any cash until 120 days into the cycle. Bakit? Dito mo pa marireceive no? Dito ka pa makakapag-collect sa dulo. Okay? Dito ka magbabayad sa 40 days. Okay? So, anong gagawin mo? Yan. Therefore, it will have to borrow the 100,000 cost of the merchandise from its bank on day 40. Okay? Mangungutang ka sa bangko dito. And it will not be able to repay the loan until it collects from customers on day 120. Thus, for 80 days, which is the cash conversion cycle, it will owe the bank 100,000 and will pay interest on this debt. Okay? So, tatakbo yung interest ng 80 days kasi nga, hindi ka makakabayad eh. Sabi dito sa taas, di ba? Break even ka lang daw. So, yung pera na gagamitin mo to support your operations, manggagaling lahat sa bangko. Okay? So, wala kang pangbayad hanggat hindi mo nakokolekta yung 100,000 after 120 days. Okay. So, for 80 days, nandyan lang yung utang mo, babayaran mo yung interest niya. Okay. So, tuloy natin yung pagbasa. The shorter the cash conversion cycle, the better because that will lower interest charges. Malamang. Kasi nga, kapag mas mababa ito, mas mababa rin yung interest expense mo. Okay. So, may note lang dito. Tuloy na natin. Note that if GFI could sell goods faster, collect receivables faster, or defer its payables longer without hurting sales or increasing operating costs, its CCC would decline. Its interest expense would be reduced, and its profits and stock price would be improved. Okay. So, ayan yung concept ng cash conversion cycle, no? And yung basic computation ng targeted CCC. Okay. So, punta tayo dito sa calculating the CCC from financial statements. Okay. Basahin natin lang. The preceding section illustrates the CCC in theory, but in practice, we would calculate the CCC based on the firm's financial statements. Moreover, the actual CCC would almost certainly differ from the theoretically forecasted value because of real-world complexities. Okay? So, ayan. Moreover, a firm such as GFI would start a new cycle before the earlier one ended, and these two would muddy the waters. So, palalabuin lalo daw niya yung pagsosolve natin sa CCC. Okay? So, dito, meron tayo ulit example, no? To see how the CCC is calculated in practice, assume that GFI has been in business for several years and is now in a stable position. The following data were taken from its latest financial statements. So ito, take note mo lang. So pwede tayong gumamit ng notepad dito. Okay. So ready lang natin yan. Paint pala. Okay. Annual sales daw, 1,216,666. Cost of sales, 1,013,000. Inventory, 250,000. Accounts receivable, 300,000. Accounts payable, 150,000. Okay. So, punta tayo dito sa baba. We begin with the inventory conversion period. Okay, so ito, formula na, no? Inventory conversion period. Nilabas mo na ba yung index card mo? Labas mo na. Sulat mo na to. Inventory conversion period. Yan ang formula. Inventory divided by cost of goods sold per day. Okay. So, ayan. Try mo nga. Nasaan yung notepad natin? Ay, paint pala. Okay. So, inventory conversion period is equal to inventory divided by COGS per day. Okay. 365 days, no? Okay, so try natin, no? Kunwari, hindi pa natin nakikita yung sagot dun sa baba. Inventory, magkano daw? 250. Tapos yung denominator mo is COGS over 365. Nasa yung cost of sales dyan. 1,013,889 divided by 365. So dito, unahin mo yung denominator, no? Isolve. Try mo nga. 1,013,889 divided by 365. Nakakuha mo dyan? 2777.78. Okay? Then, 250 yung numerator mo. 1,000. Okay? So, i-divide mo lang 250,000 dun sa sagot mo. Makakuha mo dyan 89.99. Round off mo na 90. Okay, tama ba yung nakuha natin? Tama, 90 days. Okay. So, ayan yung inventory conversion period. Okay. So, itry nga natin yung formulang isa. Okay. Nasa na yung paint? Yan. Same kaya yung magiging sagot natin. So, sabi natin, yung inventory conversion period dito. Yan. Or AAI. Same lang. Dun sa computation natin dun sa Brigham book. Bakit ayaw sumunod sa akin ito? Ayan. Try mo nga. Ano yung formula? Dito. AAI is equal to 365 days over inventory turnover. Okay. So, kailangan mo pang malaman kung ano yung formula ng inventory turnover. Sana naalala mo pa, no? So, di ba sabi natin, kapag turnover, sales yung numerator. Tapos, yung denominator niya is yung pangalan ng turnover. So, inventory turnover, sales over inventory. Kaya lang, sabi natin, mas maganda kung ang gagamitin natin as numerator is yung at cost, no? Okay, kasi yung sales natin na figure dito, may markup na yan. So, mas okay kung cost of goods sold yung numerator natin. Okay, so COGS over inventory. Ba't COGS yan? COGS yan, okay. Over inventory. Okay, try nga natin kung ano yung COGS over inventory pag sinolve natin. Magkano yung cost of sales natin ulit? 1,013,889 divided by magkano inventory natin? 250,000. Okay. Try mo nga. 1,013,889 divided by 250,000. 4.05. Bakit paling? Bakit ka paling? Ayan, sige. 4.05. Ayan. 5. 6. Ayan. Okay. So, ito yung inventory turnover natin. Nagamitin mo pa yan dito sa formula sa taas. Okay. So, 4.055. 5. 6. Okay. Pwede ba ito i-move? Yan. Pwede pala eh. So, i-divide mo nga. Try mo kung pareho yung magiging sagot. 365 divided by yan. Oh, okay. Pareho. 89.99 din, no? Or 90. So, conclude natin na same nga lang yung lalabas na sagot. Okay. Depende na lang kung gagamitin mo yung average inventory dito as denominator. Okay. Pero yun nga, focus natin yung Brigham formula, no? So, ito na lang yung gamitin natin para hindi tayo ma-confuse. Okay. Check lang natin kung pareho nga yung magiging sagot. Okay. So, okay na tayo dun sa inventory conversion period, no? So, tuloy lang natin yung pagbasa dito. Thus, it takes GFI an average of 90 days to sell its merchandise, not the 60 days called for in its business plan. So, hindi nasunod yung plano. Note also that inventory is carried at cost. So, the denominator of the equation is the cost of goods sold, not sales. Kasi nga, yung sales figure ay may markup na. So, mas okay kung yung cost yung gagamitin natin. Okay. So, next naman na hanapin natin is yung average collection period or day sales outstanding. Alam mo na yan, di ba? Pero isulat mo pa rin sa index card mo para sama-sama yung formulas na gagamitin mo. Okay? Try nga natin yan. Dito. New. Don't save. Lagyan natin yung formula dito, no? Average collection period or DSO is equal to receivables over sales per day. Okay. So, try natin, ha? Kunwari, hindi pa natin nakikita yung sagot. Nasaan ka na? Nasaan yung given? Ayan. So, ba't kasi ang laki-laki mo? Ayan. Receivables. Nasaan na tayo? Ayan. 300,000 yung receivables mo. Nice ka. Ayan. 300,000. Then yung sales mo, magkano? 1,216,666 divided by 365. Again, unahin mo yung denominator. 1,216,666 divided by 365. Makukuha mo 333. Okay. 3333.33. Okay, then numerator is 300. So, solve mo lang yan. 300,000 divide mo dun sa na-compute mo kanina. Makukuha mo dyan is 90. Okay. Tama ba tayong na-compute? 90 days na average collection period. Tama, ayun o. 90 days. Okay. So, i-compare nga natin ulit kung same siya na magiging formula mo dito. Na magiging sagot mo dito using this formula. ACP natin. Ito, no? Average collection period. So, sabi dyan, 365 days divided by ARTO o yung accounts receivable turnover. So, kailangan mo muna ulit gawin yung receivable turnover formula mo. Okay. Tanda mo pa ba yung formula ng receivable turnover? Ayan, no? Nakalagay naman dito, no? Sabi natin kapag turnover ang hinahanap, sales yung numerator. Ayaw talaga sumunod sa akin ito. Ayan. Sales yung numerator. Then, yung denominator is kung ano yung turnover. So, accounts receivable. Okay. So, try mo nga. I-substitute yung figures dun sa given. Asa na yung given natin? Yan. Annual sales, 1,216,666 divided by magkano yung receivables? 300,000. Ano yung makukuha mo dyan? 1,216,666 divided by 300,000. 4.05. Okay. So, 5.5. Familiar ba sa'yo yan? Yan din yung na-compute natin kanina, no? Okay. So, try mo nga. 365. I-substitute mo dito. Okay. 365 divided by yung 4.0555. Na-compute mo na yan kanina at nakuha natin 90 days nga. So, same lang yung naging sagot. Okay. So, ayan. ACP is 90 days. Okay, tuloy natin yung pagbasa. Note that it takes GFI 90 days after a sale to receive cash, not the 60 days called for in its business plan. Because receivables are recorded at the sales price, we use sales rather than cost of goods sold in the denominator. Okay. So, ayan. Sales price na kasi, no? Yung receivables. Kaya, hindi na cost of sales yung ginamit natin. Yung sales amount na. Okay. Ano yung huli natin kailangan malaman para makompute natin yung cash conversion cycle? Payables deferral period na lang. Okay. So, ito, medyo bago sa'yo to. Okay. Sulat mo si index card mo. Payables deferral period is found as follows. Okay. Again, using cost of goods sold in the denominator because payables are recorded at cost. Okay, so ito yung formula. Payables deferral period is equal to payables divided by cost of goods sold over 365. Okay, so try nga natin. Kunwari, hindi pa natin nakikita yung sagot. Okay. Ano daw yung formula ng payables deferral period? Okay? Wait lang. Ayaw mong sumunod. Okay. So, ay, dito ka lang. Yan. Stay ka lang dyan. So, yung numerator natin is payables. Okay. Then, yung denominator is cost of goods sold, COGS, per day. Okay. 365. So, dito, wala tayong pagko-comparean na formula, no? Kasi, ngayon pa lang natin na-encounter itong payables deferral period. Okay. So, substitute natin yung figures dito sa given. Magkano yung accounts payable? 150,000. Okay. Yan, dito na lang natin ilagay. 150,000. Then, yung ating cost of sales, 1,013,889 per day, 365. So again, unahin mo muna yung denominator. Okay, so 2,777.78. Yan yung denominator. Then, i-divide mo yung 150,000. 150,000 divided by 2777.78. Okay, ang nakuha natin is 53.99 or 54 na lang. Okay, tama ba yung nakuha nating sagot? 54. Ayan, tama, 54 days. Okay, so kompleto na yung kailangan nating figures dun sa ating computation ng cash conversion cycle. Tuloy lang natin yung pagbasa. GFI is supposed to pay its suppliers after 40 days, but it is a slow payer, delaying payment on average until day 54. Okay, we can combine the three periods to calculate GFI's actual cash conversion cycle. So, yung formula nga, gagamitin natin. CCC is equal to yung inventory conversion period. Ito. Plus average collection period. Ito. Minus payables deferral period. Ito. Okay. So, 90 plus 90 minus 54 is equal to 126 days. Okay. So, GFI's actual 126-day CCC is quite different from the planned 80 days. It takes longer than planned to sell merchandise. Customers don't pay as quickly as they should. And GFI pays its suppliers slower than it should. The end result is a CCC of 126 days versus the planned 80 days. Okay. Although the planned 80-day CCC is reasonable, the actual 126 days is too high. Anong dapat gawin? Yan. The CFO should push salespeople to speed up sales and the credit manager to accelerate collections. Also, the purchasing department should try to get longer payment terms. Okay, if GFI could take those steps without hurting sales and operating costs, the firm would improve its profits and stock price. So, nabanggit na nga natin kanina yan, no? The shorter kasi, the better pagdating dito sa CCC. Okay. Ayan, so dito binanggit lang yung study, no, na nagpapatunay na yung shorter cash conversion cycle magre-result sa higher profits. Okay, so kung gusto mong basahin, pwede naman. Okay, so ayun, para dito sa cash conversion cycle. Okay, pause muna natin yung video.